thing is with people with so-called pornography addiction, and research has shown this, if you give them other coping skills and ways to deal with stress in their life, or you teach them, they give them assertiveness training so that they are able to speak up about what's bothering them instead of turning to pornography as a way to feel better, it actually cuts down on how much their viewing time and how much they rely on it.
That's interesting, and I wonder if you get healthy user bias, because if you're getting someone that is willing to admit and accept the fact that they do have some sort of a sex or a pornography addiction, that's not the average person. Like I think there's a lot of people out there that are addicted to porn, but you never hear from them because there's so much shame attached to it.
Right. But I think someone who is spending 8 to 12 hours a day, that's a lot of time. That's pretty far in terms of severity. So yeah, I don't think that for everyone who uses porn as a coping strategy, it's necessarily going to be that extreme. But my issue is that this has been portrayed as something that is definitive and that we should treat it. Like, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, everyone was talking about porn addiction. And within the field, people who work with people with problems with pornography in a therapeutic context will say, that it's not an addiction. There are other things usually going on in someone's life. And those are the things that you need to talk about when you sit down with a therapist.
When everything breaks at the seams and you feel like you're losing belief. Well, damn it, you just gotta stay strong when it all falls apart and goes wrong. When you feel let down and so lost and it feels like you can't hold on. Well, damn it, you just gotta stay strong, 'cause sometimes things go wrong and one day everything's gone, but you can make it out and move on. So damn it, you just gotta stay strong.
Well, we constantly hear from those pushing age verification laws, anti-porn laws, obscenity laws, those at Exodus Cry, morality and media. I'm not calling them NOSC. It's morality and media, because that's what they was. They're trying to hide themselves by changing the name of their organizations. But what they want to do is change obscenity laws, move it back before the 1970s. So basically they can arrest people for things that they consider obscene, which, folks, that violates the Constitution. People say, well, no, you can't. Porn is not. It does violate the Constitution. Now, one of the things they say is they talk about porn addiction. You see some of the videos online on YouTube and a couple other places, and they talk about porn addiction, that, it's real, it exists. These guys, they say, well, I was addicted to porn, But, if you ask psychologists that have done proper research on this, and they tell you it's actually a myth. And those who are in morality media, Exodus, and many others, are using those myths to basically push these laws into effect. Not only that they say, they talk about child pornography and human trafficking, women being trafficked. No, they also use addiction. But the thing about it is, when you hear addiction, it's, as I say, I'm not a doctor, not a psychiatrist, but when you look into the perspective, people are addicted to coffee, they're addicted to soda, they're addicted to certain foods, chocolates, ice cream, they're addicted to smoking, they're addicted to drugs. And when you look deep into a lot of these addictions, it comes down to one major thing: mental illness. And it's not that the porn or the coffee or the marijuana has made them the mental illness made them addicted to it. It's what's truly wrong with them, that they're doing all these actions that people are saying, well, they're addicted to this. Well, there is a public health scientist who has put out, and this is in The Hill. You can go look for it at The Hill. The article is called, "Is Pornography Really Warping Our Brains, or is it a Moral Panic?" And I've said this for many times. Yeah, they're just trying to push these situations. We're going to read off the XBiz article from Gustav Turner, which gives you a basis. But I would tell you, go ahead and go see the Hills article on there. It's a very detailed situation from Joshua B. Grubbs, who's an associate professor of psychology at University of New Mexico. And he gets into detail of why, this is all politics. This when they call it porn addiction, it's politics that they're doing, but it's, you're not addressing the true problems, the true mental health problems in people. Influential Washington-based publication The Hill this week ran an opinion piece by a public health scientist debunking an unscientific myth of porn addiction and criticizing its rampant political use. Chiefly by religious conservatives to justify anti-free speech legislation, Joshua B. Grubbs, an associate professor of psychology and an investigator at the Center on Alcohol, Substance Use and Addiction at the University of New Mexico, explained that the current onslaught of propaganda, from the earnest op-eds to toothless legislation calling pornography a public health crisis, to calls for warning labels, lacks grounding in what careful scientific research has taught us about pornography use. In an essay titled, "Is Pornography Really Warping Our Brains, or Is It a Moral Panic?" Grubb explains that as a psychology professor and addiction researcher, he has made a career out of understanding pornography use and its effects, publishing dozens of scientific studies on the topic. In the course of that work, he notes that most consistent findings is that simple narratives like porn is bad or porn is good are flawed. Such assertions and arguments are underpinned them, always missing the key information and are almost always wrong. According to Grubbs, the science simply does not support the outlandish claims of those who formulate the panic about pornography by claiming that it leads to addiction and mental health problems, damaging brain cells, resulting in violence against women, and drives epidemics of sexual dysfunction. Claims that pornography is inherently addictive without basis, Grubb concludes. Some people do become out of control in their use of pornography, but the same can be said of exercise, shopping, or even working. Yet there's no rush to label most of these things as addictive because not every habitual behavior is an addiction. And this is correct. This is the research that needs to be done. And people do not, because basically they're just going to use this. This is the same shit that's been going on for many decades now. I always bring this up, the 1990s, the time that, a waste of tax dollars where you had people in government were sitting there, we got to ban the video games because it's making the children violent. We got to ban TV for the same, ban actions movies and shit because basically it's the same situation. We have to ban the music because basically, it's causing our children to die. This is the same people that, and you have to understand, the reason why we don't have true Saturday morning cartoons like we used to is because of government intervention. Because of what the government says, we need more education, on Saturday morning. No, we don't. We got plenty of education out there. Kids when I was young, we went to school, we did our homework and all that, and we waited till the weekends to have some fun. You can't sit there and dictate that the kids have to be continuing learning 7 days a week. Do you want people working 7 days a week? No. Actually, you want to cut back on that. I know a lot of people say, well, they want to make a 4-day work week. But what you're doing is you're telling kids, well, you can't watch cartoons anymore unless they have some agenda or the message or made for the modern era. Because this is the thought patterns they have. You know, the other half of it is you got to remember to the point where one particular rock band was taken to court for the deaths of 2 young men, and they said, well, it was their music that caused them to commit suicide. A court found them not guilty to that situation. That there was nothing that proved, that the lawyers could prove that this was possible. This was 2 young people who basically kept 2 young men that kept teens actually at that time that was in their room, hung out in there playing music, smoking pot, probably drinking, and all this. And the parents didn't really check up on them. They didn't put to the point where, hey, is something wrong out there? Is something wrong with you? And it just literally, they turned a shotgun to themselves and blasted themselves. And they wanted to blame the music for it. Because it said the music told them to do it. But, they proved in the court that, no, it doesn't say anything of that nature. People think they hear. It's like the same thing with the white and blue dress. Is some people see white, some people say, it basically, if you stare at something long enough or listen to something long, you would think that is, part of, what you're trying to look at or hear. And you have to remember one thing: porn has been around forever. I mean, you could go back to the old relics of many different cultures, and you could see that there was some sort of pornography in there. You go to India, you had the Kama Sutra, for example, to that situation. And, you had, back years and years, the novels, Fanny Hill and many others that, they considered pornography. This is the thing that they want to ban. They want to ban everything. And they're going to use politics. They're going to use to fear you. It says, oh, it's bad for you. It's a situation like that. But a lot of the bad things, for example, aka cannabis, which hasn't done full research. People say, well, yeah, it does help on that. But have you done full research? Have you done, coding that basically where you identify if you make it stronger, you can make people sicker. And that's what's happening right now. The same thing happened with fentanyl, and all these Oxycontin and stuff like that. They're handing them out like Pez years ago. And look at the crisis we're going through right now. And is anything being done to stop the flow of it? No. No, not at all. This is every politician that's sitting there on both sides of the aisle that just spews this garbage out. Are there bad people in the world? Yeah, of course. There's going to be bad people in the music industry, in Hollywood, in the porn industry, in many other places, businesses and stuff like that. You're always going to have situations like that. But you can't sit there and assess that, we're just going to push this out so we can get rid of it. That would that violates Constitution. People don't realize our forefathers wrote the Constitution for a reason and wrote it the way they did. And the thing about it is we keep trying to fix it properly so we don't lose control of our country. And we've been losing control of our country recently. Look what is happening in the UK. I'll give you a perfect example in the UK. Someone was out, singing a gospel song on the street. And a cop walked up to them, told them, stop doing that, and we're going to ticket you. Do you believe that? Yeah, it actually happened in the United Kingdom. And this is just recently. You're not allowed to sing gospel music in the United Kingdom. What is wrong with them? That, they used to have sort of a freedom of religion there, not like the United States, but, they say, well, you can't sing out here, only in church. You're choosing what songs I can sing? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. Then there was the time a woman was standing again outside an abortion clinic, and she was just praying, but she wasn't praying out loud, she was praying silently. And they ticketed her. That's right. They ticketed her. fast forward over in Canada, you have one person they want to send to a re-education facility because they didn't like the things he was saying online. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. That is, this is the stuff that's going on around the world. And when you hear age verification this, age verification that, the ban, all of this is to literally censor the internet and censor everything around it. Censor the movies, censor television, censor online services. They don't want you to learn things. This is why they've dumbed down our children. This is why our education standards are in the basement. You tell people, oh yeah, I'm addicted. They say, you're addicted to porn, but you're misdiagnosing them. What happens when you misdiagnose somebody in a hospital situation? You misdiagnose, say, well, they have cancer. You start giving them cancer drugs, and their hair falls out and stuff like that. But it wasn't cancer that was doing it. You're giving them drugs to remove the cancer, but they don't have cancer. What happens then? The hospital gets sued. The doctor gets sued. That's malpractice. And I think people need to understand, here's the other part. When they tell you they researched something, here's the research for this, it's the clip notes. It's always the clip notes. All you got to do is read the way these papers are put out. Because we have proof out there. There were a couple comedians that put out these crazy scientific papers that have no standing, but universities posted them. They basically put them out there as fact. It proves the thought pattern in our universities, people that does these scientific studies. Look at their methodology, where they get all their situation, and you'll find out that it's just cliff notes. It's just pure cliff notes. When you have someone like this particular gentleman who's done full research for many, many years, who is an expert in this, and tells you they're just using this. They're just using this as political jargon, to run their elections, to basically win elections, to take control. So comment in the comments line below, and I know we're going to have some people saying, porn is evil. Nobody's telling you to watch porn. Nobody's telling you to sit there and say, hey, listen, I got to love porn now. No, you don't have to. You don't have to watch. It's the same way if you don't like a horror movie, if you don't like the horror industry, you don't watch horror films. If you don't like Westerns, you don't watch Westerns. If you don't like a particular music, you don't like rock, rap, or anything like that, no one's telling you to listen to it. But we have to have space for all of these because it is artistic expression. Whatever you say that you say, well, porn is not art. No, not all of it, but some of it is. One day, take a read on Fanny Hill and you'll understand why. So until next time, comment, like, share, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. Hit that subscribe button right now. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Check out all of our other videos here on Man with the Show and on Cuticast TV. Stay strong, stay safe, educate yourselves. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing this video. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe as this helps the reach of this channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help support this channel as new internet laws around the world will diminish our reach and affect our sponsors. If you choose to help, there are two ways listed in the description below. The first link will lead you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will lead you to our gear shop where you can buy shirts, mugs, and other gear. Discounts will be listed on the site. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.